Once upon a time, in a picturesque kingdom, there lived a kind and hardworking girl named Cinderella. After the loss of her father, she was left in the care of her cruel stepmother and selfish stepsisters. They treated her as nothing more than a servant, making her clean, cook, and toil from dawn to dusk. Despite her hardships, Cinderella remained hopeful, often gazing at the stars and dreaming of a better life. One day, a royal messenger arrived with exciting news. An invitation was sent to every maiden in the kingdom, inviting them to a grand ball at the palace. The prince was seeking a bride, and this would be his chance to meet her. Cinderella's heart filled with hope, but her stepmother quickly crushed her dreams, laughing as she said, "You? At the ball? Don't be ridiculous." When the day of the ball arrived, the stepmother and stepsisters left in lavish dresses, leaving Cinderella behind. Heartbroken and alone, Cinderella sat by the fireplace, tears streaming down her cheeks. She whispered to herself, "I just wanted a chance." Suddenly, a shimmering light filled the room. "Why are you crying, my dear?" asked a warm voice. Cinderella turned and saw a glowing figure, her fairy godmother. With a kind smile, the fairy said, "You shall go to the ball." Waving her magical wand, the fairy transformed Cinderella's tattered dress into a magnificent blue gown that sparkled like starlight. Glass slippers appeared on her feet, and a nearby pumpkin turned into a golden carriage. Cinderella gasped in wonder as the fairy added, "But remember, my magic only lasts until midnight." At the palace, the ball was in full swing. The grand chandeliers cast a golden glow over the marble floors, and the music filled the air with enchantment. When Cinderella arrived, the entire room fell silent, captivated by her beauty and grace. The prince approached her, and with a smile he said, "May I have this dance?" The two danced as if no one else existed, their movements graceful and effortless. For Cinderella, it felt like a dream come true. But as the clock struck midnight, the magic began to fade. Remembering the fairy's warning, Cinderella fled the palace, her gown turning back into rags as she ran. In her haste, she lost one of her glass slippers on the grand staircase. The next morning, the kingdom was buzzing with news. The prince had found the glass slipper and was determined to find the mysterious girl he had danced with. He searched far and wide, visiting every house to see who the slipper belonged to. When he arrived at Cinderella's home, her stepsisters eagerly tried to force their feet into the delicate shoe, but it was no use. Then Cinderella stepped forward. The prince knelt before her, and as she slid her foot into the slipper, it fit perfectly. The stepmother and stepsisters gasped in disbelief as Cinderella smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. Soon after, Cinderella was brought to the palace to prepare for her wedding. As she stood in front of a mirror in her elegant gown, she saw the reflection of her younger self in her simple dress. She smiled, knowing how far she had come and how her resilience and kindness had led her to this moment. The wedding was a grand celebration, with the entire kingdom rejoicing in their union. Flowers adorned the palace, sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows, and the sound of laughter filled the air. Birds and animals joined in the festivities, adding a touch of magic to the joyous occasion. Cinderella and the prince began their new life together, spreading love and kindness throughout the land. Standing on the castle balcony, they looked out over the kingdom as fireworks lit up the night sky. And so, they lived happily ever after,